Greetings, YouTube. Today I'm going to take a look at a DeWalt utility knife. This is the Atomic. Now, not long ago, I did a review of this DeWalt uh, utility knife, and this is a true button lock, silver button. Open it up, close it. Um, and I really quite liked it. Not the kind of thing I carry on a regular basis. I tend to prefer just uh, more of a conventional pocket knife, though lately I have been carrying exclusively flippers that have button locks on them. Um, but I was impressed by this. So when I was at the hardware store yesterday, I saw this, which is the Atomic. Bit pretentious if you ask me, but it's a smaller model than that one physically. It's about 3/4 of an inch shorter, has a lanyard option like right here. Um, I really like just a very bright color. There's like the only black here is along the edge. Um, Plastic scales, and of course this is a great color for a work site or even around the yard because it's going to be easy to see regardless of what environment you're in. Not a color you find in nature a great deal. Um, and this one has a similar pocket clip. So it's got a pocket clip very similar. Both wire star pocket clips. In fact, I think they are the exact same pocket clip. They just reused the pocket clip. Kudos on them. Um, this is a single position pocket clip, which means it's not quite as accessible to southpaws, but southpaws have not been completely abandoned on this one. I'll get to that in a second. Um, what I liked about this is that while it does have a lock that is accessible by your button, by the thumb on the back, like a button lock, this is actually a liner lock. So I'm going to open this up. Sorry, it's a little difficult to do that vertically with my right hand. So this is a liner lock. I think you should be able to see that. Yeah, there you go. There's a liner lock in there. It's just it's a liner lock accessible from the back as opposed to a more conventional liner lock, which is accessible from the front, which does in fact put your thumb in the path of a closing blade. Though admittedly, this section of the blade is not sharp. This is actually not a blade at all, it's just a carrier. So you're less likely to cut yourself even if it had a conventional liner lock. Um, but it means that it's completely clear. We don't have to worry about it at all. When it's closed, this is flush, and when it's deployed, it is proud. Um, and what I thought about this was interesting is that there's only a 4-gram difference between these two knives. That one is only 4 grams heavier than this one. This is a little bit heavier as far as uh, like cubic centimeter uh, of unit because it's a little shorter, yet it's almost exactly the same weight. But I really like the vibe on this one because there we go, it's not too bad. And it's got the same tool-free uh, blade chain. So you just take this, you pull it down. That right there is the pivot. So this thing pivots out, slide your blade in, slide your blade out, and it will fit into either two of the two notches that are in your utility blade so you can determine how far you want your blade to be sticking out, which is a nice feature depending what kind of a job you're doing. So you can hold it like this, and that's a full finger, 4-finger grip for me, or if you prefer, it's designed really to get up snug. So if you need to be doing, say, for example, splitting some casings on cabling and things like that, you can get right in there, or even sharpening your standard kind of a carpenter's pencil. This is well suited to that task. And because it has no tools, when that gets sight gets dull, boom, put it back in, and now you get a fresh side. Awesome. Now, what I liked about this as far as the left hand is concerned, even though the pocket clip is here, so you're going to put it in your pocket on the left side, when you pull it out of the left side, your fingers are going to be pretty much right there. And I actually have a much easier time of doing this with my left hand than I do with my right hand because we're using my forefinger as opposed to my thumbs. I've got arthritis and my thumbs are the weak spot in both hands, though the right one is worse off than the left one. Not shocker, a dominant hand. So if I can do that with my left hand and I'm not a southpaw is going to be able to do this without any issue whatsoever, even though the clip is not reversible. So I think this is a very southpaw friendly tool. So yeah, it's got a little bit of jimping here on the texture here. You hear that? On the side, so for finger traction. There's nothing on the actual mechanism itself. It's smooth steel. There's a little bit on the back here. So in the event you need to do that or this, you have something to work with. And because the mechanism has to be deployed this way, I think that's quite safe, at least for me. And I still think it's going to be fine with the left-handed person because that's falling kind of in the gap of your hand. It's falling in here. So it's not really falling into a spot where you're likely to put a lot of pressure. So I would not be concerned with it. And not to mention, you will be cutting this way as opposed to being pushing that way. Unless, because you don't use utility knives in this direction. Um, so yeah, this is an awesome little knife. I really like the overall design. The fact that it's a very simple, it's even less complex than a button lock. It is essentially, like I said, it is a liner lock. It's just a liner lock with the mechanism in the back. And I think this may be the first liner lock I've ever seen with a back mechanism. I don't know how common that is. If anybody out there does in fact know how common that is, I'd like to know. I've never seen one before. I've seen lots of locks that had, that were activated from the back, your classic lockbacks or mid locks, things like that. But this is the first one I've seen which was an actual liner lock that is just activated from the back of the blade, or back of the knife rather. So yeah, this has been the DeWalt Atomic. Like it's a smidge pretentious, but overall I think this is a solid job, a solid design. I picked it up at Home Depot for 10 bucks. So this may be something that would be really well suited to your particular job site needs or your toolbox needs because it's super small. It just disappears in your hand. So it could be easily dropped into your pocket without any problem or your toolbox, and it's not going to be taking up a lot of space. So DeWalt Atomic. I think this is an awesome little utility knife.